Live now.
Yeah, thank you, councillors. For the benefit of those who may have been watching the live stream, we've had yet another power outage with the wild weather we're having here in Drybunna. When we went off air, I don't recall. Sorry. Mr. Woodward, thank you. You were offering some information around the oval, I believe.
Yeah, so I think that I was just sort of stating that that effectively it was in the previous structure plan, and that any future work to that site would require a significant business case and development and a like an analysis, which would be presented.
Councillor Woods, you're the only one that hasn't spoken at this point. Do you have any comment in relation to the town structure plan?
I do, but I'm not going to say it because it will cause a war.
Go on.
No. Other than to say that, dare I say it, Councillor Churchill will all wasted ink. Ink printed out. Anyway, that's all. No, I won't cause a war.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, you moved a motion. Do you wish to close debate on the matter?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I'll just make a comment that it's been interesting hearing everyone, but I suspect it's thanks to Mr. Purvis. I think he made it quite clear how the document works and what it's for. It's pretty much a high-level baseline roadmap for council to use and inform decisions we make. It's not a plan that we follow to the last letter. There's information missing out of it. There always will be. It potentially should be a living document, I imagine, where it gets changed a little more regularly than 10 years. But I think it's premature to think that it will inform anything about the Swansea Oval moving to the other side of town at the moment. That's a long way further down the road that would need a ton of investigation before that would happen. So this is just a conversation starter and something to begin the conversation with. I think we all need to be aware of that. One thing I would say, I think it probably should be somehow benchmarked against the previous report. There's no mention of the previous report. And it's quite a different report, the previous report. It has a lot more detail, a lot more statistical detail in it. And I'll go to the point that it's got levels of post-school qualifications, it's got occupation of employed persons, it's got all sorts of different categories that aren't in our current report and maybe not to be in our current report, but it would be interesting to see how that previous report stacked up against the here and now. And I think we need to somehow make sure that the report is actually relevant and the numbers in it do work out to what is happening here and now. And a good example of that is in the Bicheno, the previous strategic structure report, the previous structure plan in Bicheno, they said we'd have the projected population for Bicheno in 2024 was 729. We've got over 1,000 now. So that's the sort of data that drops out of date really quickly and becomes not that useful. So that's really all I have to say on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? McQueen is against. The motion is carried. Agenda item 8.2 is the Southern Tasmanian Council's Authority membership. There is a recommendation on page 29. Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Mayor. I will move that Council write to the Chair of the STCA thanking the organisation for the work carried out on behalf of all member councils over the life of the organisation, and 2, resolve to withdraw from the STCA and advise the Chair of the STCA and all other member councils that it will no longer be a member after the 30th of September 2024.
Who's the seconder? Young. Councillor Woods, do you wish to speak?
Can I make a clarification on that? Because when you read it out loud, it sounds very different. So resolve, number 2, resolve to withdraw from the STCA and advise the Chair of the STCA and all other member councils that it Would that not read that Glamorgan Spring Bay Council will no longer be a member of the team?
Probably should.
Madam Mayor, I think it's a tangle with expression, but it works. I'd take out the resolve to, because resolve to requires an extra step to actually do another resolution. But if it just says withdraw and will be no longer member after 30 September, I think that does the job. But it's, I'm not wedded to it. I'll do the work job even after the tangent.
Councillor Woods, would you be happy just to remove the resolve to in the second part, so that the motion would then read that the council, one, and then two, withdraw from SPCA?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Seconder, councillor Young. Thank you. Councillor Woods, do you wish to make any comment?
Yeah, I as well. Sometimes these committees and things and the like reach an end of date, and I think this one certainly has reached its end of date.
Any other questions or comments in relation to the SPCA? No further questions or comments. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 8.3 is the code for tender and contracts, the review of the code of tender and contracts. It's the recommendation is on page 31. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I move that council adopts the code for tenders and contractors attached to this report, item effective 27/8/2024.
Seconder, please. Seconder, Councillor Gregson. Thank you. Councillor Young, do you wish to
I
make
don't
any
wish
comment?
to speak.
Pardon?
I don't wish to speak to the madam.
Any other questions or comments in relation to this matter? For the motion, those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 8.4 is the asset management policy. There is a recommendation on page 33.
I move that council adopts the asset management policy as attached to this report item effective 27/8/2020.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor Simons, thank you. Councillor Whitty, do you wish to comment? No. Any other questions or comments in relation to the policy? Further, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? 8.5 is the unsealed roads. There is a recommendation on page 35. Councillor Young.
I move that council adopt the unsealed road policy as attached to this report, item effective 27/08/2024.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor Young, do you wish to comment?
The report speaks for itself. I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to the policy? Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Waste management policy recommendation is on page 37. So Woods, thank you.
I'll move that council adopts the draft waste management policy as attached to this report, item effective 27/8/2024.
For a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Churchill. So which do you wish to speak?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if I could, not necessarily on this one, if I may, but I just would like it noted to that people be aware that we have had these on our workshop for so long, and our workshops have been so full with budget deliberations and various other things. Good to see that they're actually presented to us now and we can tick it off.
Any other questions or comments in relation to the waste management policy? Mr. Churchill.
Just to add to what Councillor Woods just said, this to let the community know that these are statutory requirements that we need to proceed through, and while it looks as if we've only looked at them in a very cursory manner, we have not done that. They have been workshopped and they are important to our governance. they deserve a lot more respect probably than we're giving them in this room, but they have had the work done on them and do have a lot of significance to council processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Woods and Councillor Churchill. I think it's a good point to make. Councillor Gregson, do you have a comment on the waste management
Yes,
policy?
just through the mayor, I'd like to concur with Councillor Churchill with some of the work here and superficially it doesn't seem to be said, but I'd like to reinforce Councillor Churchill's comment.
No further comment or question? All those in favour? Those against? Yeah. Councillors, I might just note for the purposes of those who are watching the online session, Councillor Young has left the chamber again, but he has a personal matter that he's dealing with that requires him to leave the chamber for a few minutes. Thank you. Agenda item 8.7 is the community small grant application for the Swansea Courthouse Arts. Recommendation is on page 4. Councillor Woods.
I'll move that, and it's a different, there's a few words missing to this one. That council approves a small community grant application for $710 to Swansea Courthouse Arts Incorporated, supporting the Shearwater Lantern Community Project at Swansea to create bird-inspired lanterns.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? The Churchill, thank you. Councillor Woods, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, yes, I would like to wish them all the best, and I'm sure it'll be a wonderfully well-received initiative.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor McLean?
Well, just to concur with what Councillor Woods has just said, I just think it's a wonderful way to bring into play all those things that matter in our region, you know, natural values, birds, the community spirit of parades, arts, etc.
Jackson?
Just through there, I'd like to concur with my fellow councillors, especially it's bringing generational interaction. Basically, providing access to Waterloo Point to see what really happens, what happens, especially younger people who, once they have a knowledge of online, etc., they'll never just keep the great history. Swansea Courthouse. Yes. Thank you.
No other questions or comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimously. Item 8.8 is the community small grant application for the Swansea Community Christmas organisation. I note that Councillor Gregson did declare a conflict and recommendation is on 4. Councillor Wood, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll move that council approves the application of community small grant funding of $1,060 to the Swansea Community Christmas auspiced by the Morgan Spring Bay Historical Society Incorporated to support entertainment at the Swansea Christmas Parade on the 15th of December 2024, including face painting, crazy bike, balloon artists and live music.
Councillor, can I just clarify, $1,060?
$1,000.
$1,060. And I will, it does say 1,000 there on our page.
I understand that the item is $1,023.
No, 1,000.
60, thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Woods, thank you. Councillor Woods.
The reason why I've bumped it up to 1,060 within the supporting documents, we have a renewal for tax invoice. They did initially ask for 1,000. I've just added another $60 onto it because that is the total amount of the renewal tax invoice.
Questions or comments? Motion, all those in favour? Against? Thank you. Mr. Wood, did you mind? Thank you. Councillor Gregson, the council has approved funding to the value of $1,060 for the Swansea Community.
Thank you, thank you.
Agenda item 8.9 is a request for event assistance for Great Eastern Wine Week. There is a recommendation on 47. Councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move the council approves the application from East Coast Wine Trail Association Incorporated for the Great Eastern Wine Week 2024 event to be held from September 6th to September 15th, 2024, of $1,000 cash contribution to assist with the cost of producing posters and other print marketing material.
Is there a second? Deputy Mayor Simons, thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you want to speak to this motion?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an established event now that I think is bringing good results to the whole of the East Coast and especially the Glamorgan Spring Bay. Thank you.
And I have to agree with you, Councillor Churchill, and other speakers in other agenda items that certainly the support of council in these events is an economic injection into our community. That's well received. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Gregson?
I just noticed the wine trail specifically goes from Buckland to St Helens, so it's not specific to the Glamorgan Spring Bay area. I noticed that I had a look at the different other sponsors, that the 1,000 is quite insignificant to the other sponsors and what's been applied. But I'm just wondering, does the council know what donation, if any, has the Break a Day contributed?
Sure. Is it so? Not something that
No, we wouldn't know that, Madam Mayor. I think it's worth saying though that about 80%, probably plus, of the wineries are on this trail are actually in our municipality.
And I think, Councillor Gregson, it's fair to say that our officers that do review these applications do so quite stringently around before they make their recommendation. Deputy Mayor?
I'll just finish by saying that this is a great event for officers and operators in our municipality, and you just have a look at the project expenses are around $30,000 and we're contributing 1,000, so it's really.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to the Great Eastern Wine? Further, I'll put the motion in as in favour. As against, carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9, there are no notices of motion. There are no petitions of agenda item 10. Agenda item 11, there are no questions on notice by councillors. 11.2 is statements.
Oh, statement, sorry.
All questions?
I did have a statement.
Do you wish to do it now?
Yeah,
Deputy Mayor?
yeah. I would just like to congratulate the Vishno Surf Life Saving Club, which obviously council's a part of. They won the annual Surf Life Saving Tasmania's award for Surf Club of the Year, which is really highly sought after in the surf life saving business. Well done to Alex Reese, all the committee. As I say, it's a very prestigious award to win for a surf club, and it underpin the viability of the club. And it's just a good reward for all the hard work from the volunteers and all those who are involved in the club.
I think we wish them well on the national stage, because I understand that they're going to the national title in relation to surf clubs. So council extends our best wishes to them, I'm sure.
It's one of the smallest surf clubs in Tassie that's punching well above its weight. So,
I've got a statement. Just that I'd like to congratulate the council on keeping the rates to as low as they could, because having spoke to a number of local business and tourism operators recently, with some have closed and some their takes are pitifully low. And a lot of the small business owners are currently, as are farmers, very, very struggling in a big way. So we need to be very aware of being cost onto our small business operators.
Councillor McQueen.
Yeah, just a statement to if I may. Three quick things. One, another extraordinary award that was given to the Glenmorgan Spring Bay Council and Community Nurses was a palliative care, Tasmanian Palliative Care Award, the state awards, and obviously had a key role in the health sector. So well done to those nurses for their palliative care work, which supports those who are either facing end of life or have symptoms of management, even though they're not facing end of life. Also, congratulations to those who participated in and assisted with last week's multi-sport event in Orford that went from ribbon through to quite at the end of it. And not just those who participated, but groups like Rotary who also assisted with barbecues and those things. And finally, I just want to flag that Mental Health Week is coming up in October, and the Spring Bay Suicide Prevention Group have been extraordinary in developing a whole week of activities for Mental Health Week. They involve all the kids at school, they involve the police, fireys, ambulance, they involve businesses offering free participation in things for that week. There's a shoot happening, there's a dog breakfast, there's just a bundle of things. Doctors are talking at events, etc. They'll be published next week, both the program of what's been organised by Suicide Prevention and also businesses that are providing free participation in their events. And I just encourage everybody to spread the message, because it's a really excellent way for people just to engage in normal activities that are happening. It's not sort of you have to come along to a meeting.
Councillor Gregson.
I'd make a couple of statements. On Monday, the 19th of August, Dementia Australia presented a kind of a talk with regard to a dementia-friendly Swansea. There's one established at Bishno at present. This was trying to get a dementia-friendly Swansea up and running, and a lady by the name of I won't say, but she accepted an invitation on behalf of council to present a dementia-friendly Swansea to the council workshop. Would the council be interested in getting that?
Yes.
So I can provide the details and things like that. Cool. Thank you. That's fine. And also, this has been a recurring issue at a community connected Swansea. The issue came up when it was presented, but I haven't heard anything about it. And a lady reminded me just recently about the same thing. Neighbourhood house. There's what's the concept of neighbourhood house? Is that a state thing, a council thing, or a federal thing? How is it funded? And would council investigate a neighbourhood house at Swansea?
Manager or
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, I don't believe it's state funded. Yeah, you want to comment on that, Mr. Woodward?
Yes, through you, Mayor. So not necessarily ran by the state government, but funded through different means, through government funding and the like. That's something that doesn't exist within our municipality, but I know of some really good things that are happening up in Breakaday that are happening up there, and we met with Bingo House and the like. We're happy to look at that report back.
And the other thing was Dr. San Swansea, expressions of interest for firefighting tanks. Just like to make that it's available for people that go by the criteria, and it closes on the 26th of September. So if anyone's interested, they just contact council with regard to details with that. It's quite specific though, only to the Swansea Dolphin Sands area. And my last one is the state cat management plan. I think it's either going to be released by the state government or it has been released, 2024 to 2029. And it's under the concept that they've got the plan, but the council will adopt their own policy with regard to this cat management, basically implementing the council's own version of that plan. New South Wales did exactly the same thing. They had 36 cat policies throughout the state, and they found that didn't work, so they've resorted back to one policy only, and for that to go throughout the whole state. So I would just like to put it to council that when they're considering the state cap management plan for this council, suggest there may be a recommendation to the state government that they adopt only one policy for all the municipalities.
Councillor Gregson, I have been on this council for many, many years. And cap management is something that's been discussed for all those years, more than 20. Mr Woodward, we have had some interaction in relation to that, haven't we? Could you offer any comment to Councillor Gregson in relation to this matter, please?
Certainly, through you, Mayor. Council officers sit on the stakeholder group for the cap management plan and the like. So we've been active participants in that, and sort of in line with what you were saying there. We yet to sort of provide any formal comment, but anything will be referred back to council to form a position on. Yes.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'd just like to make one small comment, and it relates to the Springbank Community Food Hub, which council will recall that I declared an interest in it, but council very generously paid their full insurance out to get them up and running. So they have been operational for about 3 weeks now. They opened with the support of community members, other community groups, the Sorrel School for the use of their venue here in Trivanna, and of course council. And it truly has surpassed anything that the lady who was the instigator of this food hub, Mrs. Annette Douglas, envisaged in this early part of the operations. And so on behalf of Mrs. Douglas, I would like to extend thanks to council and to everyone who's provided assistance, donations, and her growing band of volunteers for their support. Agenda item 12 is the confidential items closed session. There is a recommendation on page 51. Councillor Woods.
Thank you. I move that council moves into closed session at 3:28 p.m.
Is there a seconder? Councillor McQueenie, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Mrs. Kerr will tell us when we're terminated.